Hey everyone, it's time for another weekly 50 year in review. I always enjoy doing these. It's super fun to look back and kind of reflect on my photos from the past year. Whenever I do these, I scroll through all the photos that I've posted in the past year. And I also like to think about some of the things that I have in mind for the coming year. So it's fun to pause and just kind of reflect a little bit and look ahead and just kind of take stock of things and think about things a little bit. And of course, I particularly enjoy using this opportunity to say thank you to everyone who is a part of the Weekly 50 community. I appreciate you all. I appreciate your comments on the blog and on YouTube. And I also need to apologize for not always responding, or at least not in a timely manner. Sometimes weeks will go by without replying to any of your comments, and that's on me. I just get distracted. And that doesn't mean I don't read them and don't appreciate them. I always read your comments, all of them, and I always appreciate hearing from you. I just get caught up in other things and I don't always check the comments. Honestly, I have a whole separate account for Weekly 50 on YouTube, and I have to open a new browser window and like purposely check the comments, which I just don't do very often because I'm normally not surfing the internet in my Weekly 50 browser profile. So I also don't always have time to give a thoughtful response. So sometimes I'll have time, and often it really does come down to, do I want to make time for it? And I've got a wife and two boys, and our days are packed. But one of my goals for 2026 is to do better at that and to be more intentional about engaging with you all. And in the meantime, I want to thank you. And I genuinely appreciate you and your comments and your suggestions and your questions. Thank you for being a part of the Weekly 50 community. In early next year, I think it's like March, maybe, this will be 14 years of Weekly 50. And I don't want to get ahead of myself here because, like, what if we don't make it to March? What if I break my cameras or something? But we're on track to be 14 years of this. So thank you all. It wouldn't be the same without you. It might happen without you, but it sure wouldn't be as cool without you. Also, I mentioned this last year, and I want to say it again, because it's important for me to say this to you. You might not care about this at all, about what I'm going to say, and that's okay. But I care about it, and that's why I want to say this, which is really, it has to do with AI. It's important for me to have you all know where I stand on AI, or maybe more accurately, how AI relates to Weekly 50. So AI is everywhere now. We've got AI images, AI video, we've got AI writing. It's hard to buy a device without having, or download an app without AI being part of it at some way, shape, or form. And we're getting to a point where it's kind of hard to know what's real and what's not real when you're looking at photos and videos online, or even reading things too. You might not care about this, but it's important for me to tell you how I use AI on Weekly 50, which is, I don't. All the pictures that you see are real. They're not AI generated. They're taken by me with a real camera, usually my Nikon D750 or my Fuji X100F or this little guy, my GoPro. All the images are taken by me, composed by me, considered like and they're edited by me. The write-ups are written by me. There's no AI assistance. There's no AI voiceovers. It's me, all of it. And if you don't believe me, you can click through to the original photos on Flickr, see them up close and look at the EXIF data. Basically, you don't have to take my word for it. You can check it. These are real photos. There's no AI trickery. However, that being said, there are two instances in which I make use of AI tools, and that's kind of how I view these. There's one which is AI denoise, and every now and then I'll use AI spot removal. AI denoise is amazing, and it makes ISO 6400 look like ISO 100. Do I use it on every photo? No, but I've been using it more on Weekly 50 photos because I can't always get the photo I want using the exposure that I want. And with Weekly 50, I'm usually going for more of an artistic end product as opposed to just snapshots of my kids. And I will use AI denoise in Lightroom to clean up the digital noise and grain. And I enjoy doing that. And I think to me, that's a thoughtful, intentional use of AI. I don't know what AI algorithms it's using behind the scenes. All I know is it cleans up your images really well. And then the same for AI removal. I really don't use it that much. And when I do, it's something really tiny, like I'll remove if there's like an insect flying through the background or something. I use it sparingly. And I view both of these, AI denoise, AI spot removal, as tools that assist me. Sort of like dodging and burning film in a darkroom. And photographers have been doing that for decades. And we can go back as far as we want, and we can find that photographers have been making use of tools to help with their editing and even help with their photo taking. But that's where I stand. So you may not agree. You might have different points, like a different viewpoint on AI. I respect that. I'm not here to say what anyone should or shouldn't do with AI. I'm telling you how I use it. And I want you to know that all the photos that you see are real. They're taken by me with light and physics. But I do use some AI tools, almost exclusively AI denoise and AI spot removal occasionally, to help me when editing. All right. Enough of that. And, maybe next year I won't care anymore. Like maybe we'll have a different conversation a year from now. I don't know. But for now, I'm telling you, that's where I'm at. So enough of that. Let's get to my top 3 photos because that's what you're all here for. In third place, my third favorite photo from the past year is this one. I shot this with my GoPro. And I'm telling you, if you have any interest in astrophotography, get one of these. These are action cameras. And this is about as far from action as you can get, taking a photo of like the camera doesn't even move. But these do an amazing job with night photography, with star trails photography, especially because you can set it and tell it when you want to record and then just go to bed. I shot this with my GoPro from my back porch, and I've shot a lot of star trails at this point, but this was a different kind of star trail because it's capturing a lunar eclipse. So anyone can take a GoPro and point it up at the sky and tell it when to start taking the exposure and go to bed. And you'll wake up the next morning with an amazing photo. That's not that hard to do. All you need is a GoPro, not even a current one. This is a 12. I think you can do it with an 11, which is like a couple years old. But this photo, not anyone can get because it's a lunar eclipse, which doesn't happen that often. And this photo required planning. It required preparation. I had to figure out exactly where to point my camera in my backyard. I had to figure out when the eclipse would start and when it would end and then time it accordingly. And I didn't even know what would happen. I only had one chance. Like I set things up when it was still sunny and used an app on my phone, Sky Guide app to tell me like where roughly to point the thing. Went to bed, and the next day it was awesome. Woke up to that, and it was so cool to see. So it was mostly just planning. I wouldn't say it was luck. It was luck that I could see the eclipse that clearly from my back porch. But all of the rest of that was planning and execution, and then the satisfaction of knowing that it actually worked. So that's my third favorite photo. In second place is this photo right here, which is pretty recent. It's a bee hovering near a flower. I shared this just a few weeks ago, but it is easily in my top 3 of the year. And it was really tough. I am so happy with how this turned out. Everything about this photo, the flower completely filling the frame from top left to bottom right, the bee in the center, the blur of its wings as it hovers. I like that it's a side profile, even the color palette. It's purple, and it's like light and dark purple, yellow, black. I mean, I don't even know how that worked. Like I took that and I'm still just like, how? I don't know how I pulled that off. I mean, I do, I guess, but wow. It's like, I'm shocked, stunned, amazed that I can get that photo. The only thing I would improve if I did this again would be to get the bee before it actually lands, because right now it actually is landing on the flower. But until then, this is the best photo like that I've ever taken, and I'm so happy with how it turned out. So that leads us to my favorite photo of the year, which is this sunset from the Badlands. I wouldn't call this a once-in-a-lifetime shot, but this is the first time in my life that I had even a chance to get a shot like this, and it totally worked. I got it with my Fuji X100F, and I had to be in the right place at the right time, and everything just came together. The position of the sun, the starburst pattern emanating out from it, the clear sky with just a couple clouds, the strata layers in the foreground, everything just worked. And it was so cool to be able to do that. I shot this handheld, wasn't even on a tripod. And I underexposed a little bit, so I didn't blow out the highlights, and everything just worked. And I am so pleased with that photo. That's the kind of photo that would make it to my desktop background or something. But even more than that is the memories that it brings up. That photo came about on a road trip with my family. And that photo makes me think of time that we spent together, seeing all new things in all new places that none of us had ever experienced before on this long 10-day road trip out to the Badlands, Mount Rushmore, the Black Hills. All of that is what I think of when I see that photo. And also, this picture to me is evidence that I am actually learning and growing. I couldn't get that photo without years of experience learning about light, learning about how to use my camera, learning about Lightroom, learning how to properly calculate my exposure settings to get that starburst pattern, when to shoot to get the starburst pattern, all of it. That photo is not an accident, and you couldn't get it with a mobile phone because you need a camera that has aperture blades, like physical aperture blades that do this, chunk, and come back like that. So I'm so happy with how that photo turned out. And there you have it, my top 3 photos of the year. Thanks for watching, and thanks for being part of Weekly 50. I really do appreciate you all. So whether you've been following for years or a couple weeks, thank you, and I appreciate you. So, what's next? What are my goals for 2026? Well, continue to use my camera, continue to learn, continue to grow. I've been taking a lot of pictures over the past year or so of sporting events of my kids now that they are getting older. One is in high school, one is in middle school, and they're doing more sporting events. I've been taking a lot of photos of their sporting events with my Nikon D50 or D500 and 70-200 millimeter lens, but those aren't really for Weekly 50. I am going to continue doing that though. I don't have my eye on any specific photo gear, which is a good feeling. I'm very happy with my photo kit right now. Instead, I want to keep learning and growing with the camera stuff that I have. And I think that's a good place for a photographer to be in, not thinking, what can I get? What can I get? Like I need to buy more, but how can I use what I have? I have been doing more portrait sessions. I've done several this year, high school senior photos, family photos. That has nothing to do with Weekly 50, but all that money gets spent on camera stuff and sometimes computer stuff like hard drives and things, or flash drives, things like that. No, SSDs. So it's not like I don't want to spend any money on photo stuff, but I'm really happy with my kit. I'd like to experiment more with the GoPro. I'd like to do more time lapses. I'd like to do more close-up shots in the winter with my D750. So I guess it all comes back to, as my dad used to say, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what this new year brings. And so we shall. Here's to good times ahead, everyone. Here's to opportunities to learn and grow. And here's to taking some cool photos along the way. Thanks so much. We'll see you around.